Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about recycling Christmas cards, reusing them, and just a way to make a Christmas ornament basically. And we just want to start with some basic Christmas cards here. I kept a lot of my favorite cards and I wanted to be able to reuse them. And so there's two ways I want you to look at these cards. For this one, for example, I've kind of used these Post-its to mark off this little section right here. Okay, so this is what I'm going to actually be using to make my ornament with. And then I'll be left with everything else, and we may even be able to use that as well. But I just wanted to kind of show you, get in your mind how big you want the ornament to be, and then you can kind of mark it off. You know, like I could go down even further if I wanted it to be a little bit bigger. What I'm going to be simulating with this ornament is a book. Okay, so you know, I could essentially even take it out further like that. And then I'll be able to kind of see what it's going to look like before I actually make the cut. And now for this one, as you can see, I can't use this. You're not going to want to cut up any of that part, because if you tried, even if you tried to just go in like this, you're going to have half animals and stuff like that. So, but when I opened the card, this was inside. This I could use. And we'll just use these Post-its here really quickly. Kind of mark off where I actually would be able to cut this. And then come across. And I would probably even cut off the red band, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then we have all of this pretty part of the card down here that we may be able to even cut to use as a back or something like that down here too. Okay, so we're going to lay this one aside for now, as well as this one. I have a few that I've already cut and I just wanted to show you. So here was one that I wanted to do out of this card. So I made my cut lines right here. Now when I cut this, because I want there to be a little edge there, I had to cut the back a little bit larger. So what I did was I actually just cut all the way across this back and then trimmed off any excess. I hung on to this because it's a pretty solid red in case I decide I need a back. We'll lay that aside, and I'll show you a few cards I've already cut so that you'll see what it looked like. Okay, so here was one. This was what I wanted for the front. So when I cut the card, I went all the way across the back. It's okay if this is here because it's going to be laying up against something anyway, so it's not going to even be noticed. Okay, so I have this one. I also used this part of the same card because I could get Merry Christmas, and I would just have to create a back for it. Sorry about the nails, guys. Here was another card that I wanted this part, and so I had cut it, but then I thought this was even cute down here, so I just went ahead and trimmed it up as well. So there's a lot of times you can use the bottom and the top of the card. I thought this one was pretty. Got a little glitter on it. And the bottom of that card had a verse on it, so I went ahead and cut that out. And I'll have to back it, of course. But that's just an idea of how you look at the cards and determine, you know, what part of it you want to be the front of the little ornament. I had actually saw a really cute ornament at Hobby Lobby, and it looked like it was a book. And so that's what gave me the idea about recycling some Christmas cards. Now, the ornaments that they had at Hobby Lobby were little wooden ornaments, but they just had decoupaged something like this over the front of it. But it was just adorable. So what I've done, I didn't have any wood, but I did have foam core board. And so I've inserted foam core board and then wrapped my card around it. And what you can do at this point, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I used a silver paint pen. Here we go. And I just went inside and covered the white edge of the foam core board and made it look like the pages were silver tipped, but I could have left them white. That would have been fine too. I've also left a little area there that I'll put a hanger in and hot glue that in. Now all I need to determine is, am I done with it, or do I maybe want to put a layer of decoupage over it? Do I want to glitter it? Do I want to use washi tape? Maybe do an edge, or you could use a flat edge, a ruler, something like that, and lay down and use a paint pen and maybe band it with a paint pen even. There's a lot of things you can do once you get the basic book put together. Now the other type of little booklet you could do, let me grab that. Okay, it was this one. And this one, I decided instead of putting the foam core board in, I printed off, well first I scanned some sheet music and shrunk it down and printed it off, and then made that my insert so that it would look like a little open book. I'll, you know, do a hole punch and put a hanger in, but it actually has jingle bells and we wish you a Merry Christmas inside. So you could actually put as many little pages in there as you wanted. I just had to open it to one, so it would hang like that open. And this one you really can't hardly tell, but I did use a gold paint pen and go around the edges. Okay, so that's basically the two options, and how big you make them. We just determine, you know, what tree you're going to put them on. Do you need larger ornaments to where you might use the entire Christmas card? Or do you have maybe even a miniature tree to where you would want to cut this down really small? Maybe just that little candle would have been on the front of it. You know, something like that. So it's just a neat little way to recycle your Christmas cards and get some really, really cute ornaments. So we're going to make one together. Okay, so we're going to make this one. I have a piece of foam core board here, and just a scrap. We're going to use that. I'm going to slide it in. It should be pretty close. Oh, and on this one, as you can see, that is split. That'll be okay. We'll take care of that in the gluing process. So what I'm looking for is to make sure, I don't mind if this sticks out just a little bit, but you don't want any black showing like that. Okay, so that should shove back a little. That should shove back a little further, so I'm not too worried about this right here either. Just giving it a quick once over, I think it's okay the way it is. Alright, so what we want to do is get our bend over here to make the spine of the book. And you can just, if you have anything you can lay down, like a ruler or anything flat really, and use either the back of a pair of scissors or a pen or something like that, just to kind of give yourself a little bit of help bending it. Just kind of score it there so it's easy to to bend. So now we have a spine. So what I'm going to do, and I'm still not going to cut this off yet. Just going to shove this in here again, lay this over it, and make sure we're still fitting okay. And we are. And you can see now I don't have anything there to worry about. Okay, so we're going to take some tacky glue or any type of craft glue that you have and just coat this and the spine and this. Or you don't have to coat it really, just get the edges. Like so. Once we've got the glue all over it, I start with the spine. And I go in and get it ready to line up. And then lay this over. Okay. This is where I said it was okay that that was cut because we were going to take care of that when we made the spine. Now what I like to do, even though that is a thick tacky glue, is lay this aside and just put something heavy on it while it sets up and dries. Okay, so while that's happening, remember I mentioned that you could also just cut out a piece of it and just make a separate back. So we're going to use the back of this card, and I'm going to cut it the same size, so you would just lay it down. Use a pen or whatever you have handy. Trace it. And just use some craft scissors and cut that out. Or if you have a straight edge, you could use that as well. You're going to want to do the same thing, of course, with the foam core to get the center of your book. Now I have two options here. I could leave that and use that as my spine, but I wanted to show you another option in case you were, didn't have quite enough to make a spine. Okay, so I've cut the foam core, I've glued the red back on. Now I'm going in to put the front on. And you just really want to line the front up with the back and get this over to the edge or spine, if you will. And just lay it down. And just pick it up before the glue sets up and check it out to make sure we're even. Don't worry about raw edges on the spine yet. Now again, I'm going to lay this aside because I want this to set up, and then we'll be back. Okay, so we are back, and now that this has had a chance to set up, you're going to look at your options for a spine. You could take, little bits of other cards you've cut up if you wanted to find a white or something like that. Excuse me, guys, allergies are making my voice squeak. Or what I thought would be good is with washi tape. And the silver I think will look good with this because it does have a little iridescent glitter on that. And silver tends to look good with blue and red. So you would just take your washi tape. Get that little edge off. Run it right down through here. Like so. And because this is so thin, I know I have plenty that's going to wrap around. So let me go ahead and cut this. Now I am feeling something on this particular card. That is the glitter underneath. That is going to be hard to stick to. So what I'm going to do is just run a little bit of glue right there. I'm going to try the tacky glue. If it doesn't work, then what I would do is come back with like a hot glue. Okay. But I'm just going to run a little bit of glue right down the edge over that glitter. Like so. And just for security's sake, I'm going to run it. Ribbon would even work with this. Okay, so we've got that glued on that side. We're going to fold it over and secure it to this side. So the washi tape made a really cute little binding just in case you had a part of the card that you weren't going to have enough to do a fold over and have a binding already there. Just use washi tape, use ribbon, use another card cut off enough to make a binding, glue it on. But that looks really, really cute. And then all we'll have to do is insert our hanger. Now, you can, before you glue everything and put the binding on and all of that, you can already have the hanger in there ready to go as well. I was concentrating on more the book itself, and I'll add my hangers later. But I think this turned out really cute. Now, I don't know if it's picking up, but you can see this card had some writing on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my pages inside this one silver. And I'll also go ahead and just make the silver bleed out onto that to cover it. Another option would be to just trim it down and have your pages flush with the book binding. Either one. But these paint pens are really nice. You just go right in, and you could use regular paint as well. I just find the paint pens are handy to use. So I did want to show you this as an option. And even with the others that we did, let me grab one of them real quick. Even with these, where we did the bend over, we had the spine already. You know, once you got them done, if you decided, you know what, I think I want to use washi tape on that, you obviously can still do that. This was just some options I wanted to show you. Okay, but they're really, really cute. And if you even have special Christmas gifts and you wanted to make some name tags, you know, not use just the normal purchase name tags that you buy in the store, the mass-produced ones. Recycle those Christmas cards and make something like this. Or, you know, maybe you want to go with this one, the one where you can print your message and put inside. But anyway, guys, I know Christmas is right around the corner. Everything's already starting to pop up in the stores. And I was thinking about doing this last year and didn't get around to it. Something similar to this when I was trying to think of ways to recycle. When I saw that Christmas ornament at Hobby Lobby, I thought, okay, this is perfect. So just wanted to share. I hope you guys have a good week this week. And I will see you next week. Bye.